Video games aren't fun anymore.
I wonder back to the last time I played a AAA game I truly enjoyed.
Today I've got a video for you about AAA gaming and why it's currently on life support.
I truly dislike the state of module gaming.
Year after year, things get worse and worse.
NFTs, microtransactions, industry consolidation, rising game prices, and games used to be better. These are the things I hear gamers complain about. And there seems to be a lot of that, complaining. After all, there's a lot to be mad about, right? You see, for too long, we've been subject to nothing but the negativity. And I'm tired of it. Gaming has never been better, and without hesitation, I can say we are on the verge of a golden era. The very systems that have apparently torn this industry apart are the very ones that will usher us into the biggest and greatest games of all time. Too many times in our modern era, we are quick to judge, ridicule, and complain that we sometimes forget just how far we've come. Do you know what an NFT is? Here, I'll answer that for you. No. But it would seem like everyone does, from the way that gamers talk about them all the time on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube. The disdain for this new technology is, I think, a perfect example of a problem that has been plaguing the industry for many years now. There seems to be a tendency to jump to conclusions and treat everything that is new in gaming in as pessimistic a tone as possible. Everyone online claims NFTs are horrible because it's simply a money grab from developers. And you know what? They may be right in most cases. But here's the thing. Why is everyone so mad about it? It's a perfect analogy to the main issue with gaming as a whole right now. Why are we mad about developers potentially making more money from people that out of their own volition are okay with giving more? NFTs, as they are being implemented right now in gaming, are just microtransactions with a new name. And yet, when Stalker 2 announced it was going to have NFTs, so many people were outraged that they had to take it back at risk of a massive loss of sales. I truly understand the vitriol, but I think it's misguided. I see articles constantly talking about NFT games that have now gone under and how everyone who paid for an NFT is now screwed. And yeah, that's true, but why don't we talk about the same with microtransactions? After all, what's the difference really? And I don't want to go on too much of an NFT and microtransaction tirade here. That's not what this video is really about. More so, I want to hit on the idea that gamers are simply getting mad at everything for no reason. And I think I know why. You see, NFTs, microtransactions, and so many of the things gamers complain about nowadays aren't actually problems. It's just that everyone finally grew up. Let me explain. So for example, with microtransactions and NFTs, they aren't something you have to buy. If you want to support developers more and get cool skins that don't change gameplay, then it's a win-win where the developers are making more money for future games and the gamers have cooler options for self-expression if they so choose. And sure, there are examples where it's pay to win, and that certainly is a problem, but for the most part, let's be honest with ourselves. Nowadays, that just isn't the case in most cases. The issue in these new systems is that they were not things that we had before. For a lot of people growing up, games shipped in a complete state. There was no asking for payments after. Hell, a lot of people would argue that there was more passion and interesting games back in the day. But I have to be honest, that is unequivocally false. Gamers aren't mad at all these new systems, they're mad at themselves. For many, gaming isn't what it used to be, because they aren't who they used to be. As a kid, I remember playing The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Mass Effect 1, and Halo 3 with friends. These are some of the greatest games of all time, and they all left me with experiences I will never forget. And to be honest, it's really, really hard to feel like I did nowadays with those games that I loved as a kid. But it isn't because these games aren't as good though. In fact, they're better. It's because our nostalgia tells us that's not the case. You see, I have a job now. Soon I'll have kids, and most importantly, what I don't have much of right now is time. When we were kids, we could come home every day from school and fully immerse ourselves into the games we loved. Whereas now we have massive amounts of responsibility we have to fulfill first before we even think about playing games. All I hear nowadays is how gaming is getting worse, what's bad and what's wrong. But too many forget just how great we have right now in gaming. Elden Ring just released one of the greatest open worlds of all time. Cyberpunk was lambasted in the press, but for those of us that actually gave it the time of day, we know it truly had some of the best character development and moments in video game history, and all of media for that matter. Prey released in 2017 and is miles better than any immersive sim ever created. And that's not even counting the Mooncrash DLC, which entirely revolutionized the genre. Lots of games nowadays still don't have microtransactions, and for anyone that thinks gaming was better in the old days, you simply aren't gaming. Go play Inscription, which was released last year. Go play Inside, Prey, Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, The Witcher, and then when you are done, go play every damn multiplayer nowadays for free. Because unlike when I was a kid, the barrier to entry has never been easier too. All big multiplayer games are free now and simply allow you to buy skins should you choose. That isn't making games worse. It's what allows everyone to have the chance to play. Games that you think are worse aren't because of microtransactions and NFTs. They simply weren't your cup of tea in the first place. Why do you care if they start charging $70 up front for a game, and then more for skins afterwards? It's just skins in a video game. Remember when we didn't care about that at all in the first place? And I get it, because skins can ruin a game if done incorrectly. But are we going to act like people getting the ability to play games for completely free and allowing access to these games to everyone across the world isn't a good trade-off? Don't get me wrong. I think it's important to have things that we had before, like having to work hard to get a sense of accomplishment and reward in your games. But there are games like that all the time now, and people are simply cherry-picking the things they don't like. Games should be $70. For anyone with a basic understanding of finance and inflation, you know it's almost insane how little the price of games has gone up. Microtransactions exist because gamers are so entitled. Raising the price of Sony games from $60 to $70 damn near had the entire industry up in arms ready to start a riot. Even with a bigger cut being taken from digital sales, making games has never been so expensive. And the world through inflation has never costed so much. So whether it's microtransactions and the advent of NFTs, game prices increasing, or just the arguments I constantly hear that games somehow used to be better, I want you to remember one thing. There are kids nowadays growing up having some of those memorable experiences with games that we all had. There are teenagers experiencing Elden Ring for their first open world. They get to play more games than ever for free, and with systems like Game Pass, their parents can spend $10 and give them access to hundreds and thousands of games, something we never had. We never had any of these amazing systems when we were younger. And I know they're scary now, but they're the very ones that are leading this industry to so much more greatness. And not just that, but games nowadays are better. End of story. Here, I'll say it. You can argue that that isn't the case, but that's your nostalgia speaking, and I'm tired of acting like it isn't. I played WoW when it first released. EverQuest, RuneScape, Neopets, the OG Pokemon games, the original Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, and the OG BioWare titles that made them famous. Those are great games, guys, but they aren't better than the new stuff. You see, I play a lot of old and new games for this channel because I like to make content for you guys around gaming. And you want to know one of the biggest things I've noticed? When I truly go back and play these great games of old that I grew up with as a kid, they are great, but they aren't as great as my nostalgia remembered. Go back and play the original Deus Ex, and then go play Prey. Go back and play Morrowind, and then play Skyrim. Is Morrowind really better, or did you just hear that from every YouTuber ever trying to get views? We are in the golden age of gaming. The systems in place right now, like microtransactions, Game Pass, and new engines like Unreal Engine 5, are laying the groundwork for an industry to flourish. It's easier now than ever to get started, and there are more ways to monetize and make a game now than ever. There's more creativity and innovation in the industry than ever before. Look to so many indie games that are coming out recently, like Weird West, Inscription, and so many more. But nobody talks about those, do they? It's easy to focus on the bad in this industry or in life in general. A lot of us grew up and our lives have become harder. We aren't kids just having fun anymore. But that doesn't mean gaming isn't fun anymore. Instead of focusing on the negative, realize just how great we have it right now. And maybe why those things that are so bad on paper actually lead to so much opportunity for greatness. I'm having more fun in this industry than I ever have. And I know that's an unpopular opinion that doesn't hit those nostalgia strings that make so many videos fun to watch. But it's the truth.